Relations between Australia and India are strained again following the fatal stabbing of an Indian student in Melbourne. The murder investigation follows a string of violent attacks against Indian students in Sydney and Melbourne last June. As Victoria Police hose down talk of racist overtones, the Indian government has called on Australian authorities to do more. What isn't in question is that Australia's reputation has copped a hammering, and the likely drop in the number of students from the subcontinent will severely affect the $13 billion international student industry. Josephine Cafagna reports.
He was on his way to work when he was attacked in a park when he was walking towards a fast food.
For every new assault on an Indian student in Australia, the story makes headlines in India.
Of a racist attack leading to death of an Indian in Australia, a 21-year-old man.
At the weekend, 21-year-old accounting graduate Nitin Garg was stabbed to death while walking through a park in Melbourne's west on his way to work at Hungry Jack's.
He was very good. He was very nice to other people, to our friends, to me even. He always ready to help people, like for anything.
The Indian government is calling for more action from Australian authorities or risk a straining of relations between the two countries.
The Australian government should realise that we have a vibrant democracy in India, and then public opinion is getting polarised on an issue like this. So they should take note of the deep anger that such incidents cause. It certainly will have some bearing on the bilateral ties between our two countries.
There's also the risk to Australia's multi-billion-dollar international education sector, which is expected to suffer a slump of around 20% in take-ups this year. Students from the subcontinent make up a large portion of enrolments. Last year, anger over the rising number of attacks sparked street protests in Melbourne and Sydney.
Indian students are welcome guests in our country.
Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, his Deputy Julia Gillard and the Victorian Premier John Brumby visited India last year to try and quell the growing concern and restore Victoria's battered reputation.
According to Victoria Police, there were 1,447 reported attacks. And we believe there must be 4 to 5 times more unreported. So we are talking about 10,000 attacks on Indian students.
Despite the numbers, Victoria Police are reluctant to say the attacks are racially motivated.
I don't believe that there has been any really detailed racist motives around assaults on Indian people in the past. In some cases there may well be, but in the general sense of it, a lot of it we've seen has been around opportunistic theft, opportunistic robbery, particularly people who work in convenience stores. And it's not only Indian people who work in convenience stores.
As a community, I think generally we send the message out that we want visitors here, that we are a welcoming community, we abhor violence, we abhor racism, and we will continue to do everything we can to stamp out crime and keep Victoria as one of the safest places in the world.
He has never made 100 in India, he has made one now.
Cricket is one of the strongest ties between India and Australia. Gautam Gupta from the Federation of Indian Students of Australia has called on cricket icons such as Shane Warne, Brett Lee and current captain Ricky Ponting to use their influence on young people in condemning hate crimes.
Australian cricketers have gone to India more than they have visited any other country. They have gained financially from India more than any other country. So obviously with and they have a lot of authority. Shane Warne is, for example, captain of the Rajasthan Royals. So now they should step up and take the responsibility seriously.
The Australian cricket captain has already posted a message on YouTube.
The Australian cricket team has lots of friends in India, and it has been disturbing to hear reports of attacks on Indian students in Australia. As cricketers, we've always said there is no place for racism in cricket, either on or off the field. I've always believed cricketers visiting Australia should be made feel as welcome in our country as Australian cricketers are when we visit other countries. That doesn't hold just for cricket. It should be the same for anybody visiting our country. It's not just the cricket way, it's the Australian way.
Back in India, the message from the Minister for External Affairs to Australia is blunt.
I would like to convey that if more attacks of this nature continue to take place in Australia, then Government of India will have to seriously think as to what other courses of action that lie with Government of India. And I'm hoping that Government of India will not be pushed to take such positions.